Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Welcome back in. It's a special playoff edition of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Beach TV and the strongest Ravens affiliate on Delmarva, 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with the Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. 44! I want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle and the Blue Ox. Also, our friends at Bud Light, Comfort in Gold Coast, Geico, the Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, and the Holiday Inn Express. Mike Bradley, Bruce Laird, John Gehrig, Steve Slaza all on the panel. And guys, we'll start to put the wraps here to recap in the 38-35 double overtime victory against Denver and start to get into the New England Patriots. You know, the thing about that game was the most watched divisional game in the 23 years they've been keeping stats. And at one point, I think over 43 million people were tuned into that game. You imagine that's over a little over 10% of the population was tuned into that game. I think that's what Steve Davis was saying on Monday.
Amazing number. Yeah. And of course, what Peyton Manning has meant to Denver, coming out there and kind of regenerating that offensive football team and getting them going. Of course, they were in the playoffs last year, as you know. Tim Tebow was able to beat Pittsburgh there at home, but you know they came in a 13-3 season, and it is amazing. This year to me. Really struck me very, very strange. I mean, I never saw so much good football and then again so much bad football being played 1 week. You just could never figure out which teams would show up and be a consistent barometer week in, week out. Everybody was doing this and this and that, and it just goes to show you in this business nowadays, the NFL has a wonderful product. They sell hope. And they're selling hope to 32 NFL teams, and everybody's buying into it.
Yeah. It's amazing after the game, John. I mean, Jerry Sandusky on the radio broadcast said, do you believe in miracles? And, of course, that line was used by Al Michaels back in the 1980 Winter Olympics when the U.S. beat Russia in the semifinals. But in a lot of ways, leading up to this game, 9.5-point dogs on the road at Denver against Peyton Manning. Again, not a lot of people gave us credit in that one. And, you know, Ray Lewis's swan song here could be Ed Reed's swan song. You know, a banged-up defense that, starting to get healthy, a retooled offensive line, but a lot of questions after playing that team at home and having it handed to us. We really turned the tables.
There was really no reason to win that game, but, you know, it just – and I was watching it with my father, and I just said, you know, veteran teams just don't get blown out. And just some sort of vibe in the cold weather, and I just said the Ravens are winning this game. There was really no reason to pick them, especially after getting – shellacked at home by the same team. But I tell you, the Ravens just have it going. And whether it's the Ray Lewis deal, you know, the momentum and creating that whole psychological mindset, or, if, you know, I think the team's playing well. I think the Jim Caldwell move was right on time. I just think a lot of things are happening. Joe Flacco's playing a whole lot better. And I think that's part of the Jim Caldwell situation, running the ball more, Steve. So I just think everything's kind of, you're talking about the defense and you're talking about the offensive line. I mean, everything's kind of, the stew is like nice and
it is funny when you look at it. When things go right, they really go right. And when they don't go, you know, like the Redskins game and like the Pittsburgh game at home, they really don't go well. But, you know, now we've got so many things going on where we've got injured players that haven't played for half the year and now coming back. We reshuffled our offensive line. Defensive line is looking good. Ray Lewis comes back, and just they're totally, it would be one thing if he came back and people are sort of sitting on the fence, but, Bruce, as a player, I mean, they are. Have you ever seen an emotional leader like this change a team? And I'm sure
I've never been around such an icon as a Ray Lewis, but I realize that belief in what you do as a unit and as a team. And again, I take my hat off to John Harbaugh. I think he actually saw what he could do here, saw that this is what you got. You beat an Indianapolis team. Now you're thinking, and everybody's just counting you out. From the time they beat Indianapolis that next Monday, the Ravens have no shot. And he fed on his football team, and he asked their manhood to come into it, and they produced for him. And I think that's the same thing. They only take you so far. But then again, when you have a Torrey Smith, because Champ Bailey's a 13-year veteran. 13-year veteran, 9 or 10 Pro Bowls. I guarantee you they said that Torrey Smith could flat out run the Champ, and he's sitting there, oh, yeah, I got him, man. No worries about that. I mean, I've been around. I can do all that stuff. So when you get smoked once, Champ, you got to understand that the guy can really run. So oh, yeah, I still got him, no problem. And they let him out there, and they never adjusted. They never gave him a lot of help. And quite frankly, should have been beat for 3 touchdowns. And he only got beat for 2.
Maybe
four.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the Ravens kind of got away from it too, and we really stuck with the run, ran on first down a lot. They were begging, they were selling out to stop the run. Denver was, and you're just begging for the play action pass call. It was like that was going to be the proverbial Green Bay dagger. You know what I mean? Was if we just caught a play action pass on first down in the fourth quarter or the fifth quarter, it was going to be over. But it was just really fun to watch. It feels a lot like Super Bowl year, Festivus Maximus year, when we beat a team we should have beat at home and then went on the road and beat 2 great offensive teams where no one really gave us much of a chance.
Like I said before, this team has a history of playing spoiler. And you think back, that Tennessee win, that Oakland win, you think a few years back in maybe Flacco's rookie year, beating Tennessee as well on the road. We did it. We've done it a couple of times at various places. 3 guys that stick out in this game that you have to give a lot of credit to the organization. Okay, Justin Tucker, undrafted free agent, beat out Billy Cundiff, okay? They had the faith in him. They went in with him all year. He's had a great year and obviously kicked a 47-yard game-winning field goal. You had Jacoby Jones, that, free agent acquisition that they brought in for special teams, but also a vertical stretch guy opposite Torrey Smith that, you can't just, hone in on one guy, or if you do, we'll make you pay. He had the tying touchdown. And then you also look at Corey Graham, who intercepted early on for a touchdown, and then also had the second interception late in the game to set things up. So, hats off again to the organization. There's 3 free agents there that aren't necessarily huge names, but Steve, all 3 guys made major contributions in the win on Saturday.
No, I mean, Ozzy's got to feel great about that. You look at, 3 guys you did. You had a kicker last year who missed it, so you brought in a rookie, and you're hoping he can do it. He did it during the regular season. He does it again in this game. Then Graham, I think, has really solidified the defense and, come in. But, Jacoby Jones, basically, it's one of those things where when things are going right, everything you do is magic. You're touching, Bruce, all the buttons you touch are paying off.
And, JJ, he has that swagger about him. I don't know if you guys have ever been around him or listened to some of his shows. He's got a major swagger about him, and he puts his money where his mouth is. And he doesn't really just talk trash, but he's got that way about him that shows confidence, says this is what we're all about. And we gotta work it, because they're saying the same exact thing about us going to New England than they did about us going to Denver. Okay, now it's a younger Tommy Brady, Tom Terrific, and all what Bob Kraft has developed there, and the Foxborough Jinx, and all the things that they've developed there in New England with all the rings they have, and it's that same mentality, and Harbs is just working it to death.
I'll tell you, before we get off of Jacoby Jones and get into the Patriots, everyone's talking about the 70-yard pass. How does a safety let a receiver get behind him? But that is a play. The offensive line, that's a play that Broncos defense. You saw everyone kind of stop. Jacoby Jones is slowed down. The defense is relaxing. Everyone's stopping because typically the Broncos sack the quarterback in that situation. The offensive line stuck with their blocks. Joe made a couple of moves, stepped up in the pocket, and just launched it. And so that's a good play. It's not just a bad play by the Broncos defense. Now, it was a colossally bad play by the safety, but that's a great play by Joe and by the offensive line as well to let Joe step up in the pocket and sling it.
Well, they only rushed 3, and they did almost get in on him, but you're right. He stepped up, which we've argued before that, hey, Joe doesn't step up enough at times. He did a great job. Defense was sitting on Pitta. He threw it deep to Jones, made a play, and they had to do something at that point. And the rest, as they say, is history. Guys, as we kind of switch gears to the game coming up against New England, and you just kind of set it up, Bruce, is that here we are, same scenario, okay? Going to New England, 9.5-point dogs again, another very good quarterback, arguably, in my opinion, Tom Brady better than Peyton Manning. You have to go against him. Super Bowl rings, you know, we've come close, but we haven't gotten over the hump up there more times than not, whether it be regular season or postseason, and it's all setting up. Nobody, I think, really has given us much of a chance in this one. So, hey, if you're John Harbaugh, guys, you couldn't ask for a better scenario. Again, it's us against the world, and there's some unfinished business on the table.
And exactly, I think that's what he's going to be playing. And again, the players are obviously going to buy into it. And I think that offensive line and that entire offensive football team, with now Jim Caldwell as the OC, the offensive coordinator, they're buying into him because now the players understand it's just not Cam. We just don't have to worry about Cam. Cam's not selling this thing. Everybody has input. And when that means, then the players have input. That means the players are going to be talking to their position coaches. Their position coaches are going to be lobbying for them on a Wednesday and Thursday and developing a game plan that everybody's comfortable with. You and I know that Vince Wilfork is a big load. They're going to put him on Matt Burke. They're going to try and offset him on the nose or line him up here and there. He's going to need to be chipped to have help. And if they want to run the football, that's what we're going to have to do. Now you finally have offensive linemen talking to their coaches and getting involved. It's a big thing because you take ownership in that. When you're just told to do something all day long, it gets pretty monotonous, especially when the guy that's telling you doesn't know what he's talking about. Because you're playing, they're not playing. We'd always come off the field when I was a player, and I'd go to my coordinator and said, you got to give us some more pass rush. We got to send 5, or let's do a little dogging. We can't stay back in this. We're going to get hurt. And they get it. And if you don't have any input, it's hard to play football because you're not believing in what you're doing.
You have to have players, guys, buy in. You know, I mean, coaches, as good as a coach may actually be, if you're not getting input, and if you're not, as Bruce, you just talked about, because you've been there, you've done it before, they don't have some ownership, then things can break down at times, especially when things aren't working out.
I tell you, and to people listening to hearing what you're just saying, seems like it doesn't make any sense. You know, what are you talking about? They don't talk to each other. The players don't come. I mean, you come off the field. I got this guy. Let's run this play. This play's going to work.
Wasn't happening, John.
You know, exactly right. I mean, so it's when that doesn't happen and you don't have that symbiotic relationship, and that's probably what happened with Joe and Cam too, to a degree, because they need to be in each other's brains so that when Joe knows why Cam is calling a play and that Joe can adjust accordingly. But obviously there was a problem, and obviously it's getting fixed up. And sticking with the run, even when you get a yard or 2 yards, 3rd and 6 isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're starting to see more 3rd down conversions.
Yeah. Guys, we only have about 20 seconds, Steve. So
no, I think when you look at that last play, I mean, he wouldn't have stepped up under Cam. I mean, Caldwell definitely has him rolling out and working away from pressure more.
All right, we'll be back to preview the upcoming game against the New England Patriots. Comcast Speech TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.